Hey, this is Jim at Broadfield Distributing. Thanks for joining us for another Broadfield Liquid Lunch and Learn every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. You will see in the corner of my screen, I am joined by a special guest this week. Welcome, Greg Quirk from Epiphan Video. Hey, Greg.
Hey, good to see you.
I'm glad to have you on the show, introducing and previewing for our dealers an exciting new Epiphan product. Before we get into that, and before we introduce the star of the show, I have a really nice gift that we received from you folks at Epiphan a couple of weeks ago. We did a virtual happy hour like we've done a few times, and Matt Sitler was nice enough to send us some scotch and whiskey, and this, he tells me, was one of his favorites. This is a 10-year-old Jura single malt scotch whiskey. So thanks for joining us, Greg. Cheers. Oh, that is good. That is good. Matt knows his stuff. So we always like to start out with something fun like that on the show. But today we are going to have a lot of fun talking about an exciting new product from Epiphan. Greg, before we get into that new product, where are you joining us from today?
I'm based in Ottawa, which is where we're headquartered.
Okay.
From my basement, of course, because we're all working from home. But yeah, I'm out in Ottawa.
Okay, that's great. So you're still working remotely. Do you have anyone back in the office? Are you guys staggered schedule? What are you doing exactly?
Most people are working from home. We do have a few people, for test purposes, shipping, things like that, that are in the office all the time. And we have it set up so that if we need to get into the office, go into our studio, for example, we can book some time to get in there.
Okay.
But yeah, generally everyone's kind of working from home, and we're making the best of it.
Absolutely.
We're getting used to it.
Absolutely, and that's been one of the challenges for us and our dealers also. We're trying to work with that staggered schedule, bring half the staff in one day, half the staff in another day, and every dealer I speak with, they're all trying to come up with their own arrangements and just figuring out what works best with the amount of space available. I guess that's the kind of world we live in right now.
Yep, it is.
But I gotta tell you, it's led to one of our taglines, which is that social distancing requires live streaming, which is 100%. A perfect segue to introducing the brand new Epiphan Pearl Nano. Greg, before we go into the star of the show, if you could give us a formal introduction of who you are and what you do with Epiphan Video.
Sure. So I'm Greg Quirk. I'm a product manager for Epiphan Video. I've been with the company for just over a year now. You guys are probably familiar with Yusufa, and he's one of the other product managers. He focuses on the Pearl Mini and the Pearl 2, and they brought me in to work on some of the new stuff we're working on.
Okay.
So we released live scripts back in February. I was working on that. And then since we released that, we've been working on Pearl Nano, and I'm the product manager for that product.
That's awesome. Do you happen to have a Pearl Nano there with you?
I do. I have my wonderful little Pearl Nano I've been playing around with on my desk.
That's
a great, tiny little device.
That's awesome. This is the product that we're introducing. So, Greg, if you could tell us a little bit exactly what is the Pearl Nano and how does it complement the Pearl family?
Sure. So if you're used to, the tagline that we use for Pearls, it's a switching, streaming, and recording box.
Sure.
Well, if you take out the switching portion of it, that's essentially what the Pearl Nano is doing.
Okay.
So just like you do in the Pearl, you can bring in your video feeds, your audio feeds, and you can create a composite video layout. So you can have picture-in-picture or side-by-side or, however you want that to be set up, add your background images, text, and whatnot. And then you can, stream it out from Pearl Nano. You also have an HDMI output of that composite video you've created. But then we've also added an HDMI Passthrough. So whatever you have as your HDMI input, you can directly pass that through one of the HDMI ports with very little to no latency. So if someone has a presentation up and they go to the next slide, they don't want to have to wait, 3 seconds until the slides update on the screen. It's that direct pass-through. You can record onto either the SD card on the front, and it also has an M2 drive that you can get access to in the bottom. You'll have to provide your own M2 drive, but you have access to that. And then different to a lot of the other encoders that are out there, you've got that monitor, that screen on the front. So you can actually see what you're outputting on the HDMI outputs. And then you can get your alerts there. If something's not working, you can do some of the control and configuration from that as well. So you don't have to worry about, well, I've got some blinky lights and I'm going to push this button and hope that it's going to all work. You can get a lot of that direct feedback.
And that's an excellent point, and that's a great thing too. I know a lot of our dealers talk about one of the things that they love most about the Epiphan Pro products is the feedback on their screen. And it's amazing how having the information right there on the front of the device itself makes it that much more user-friendly, where they can really bring it into any of their customers, do a quick little tutorial, and they'll have the live streaming encoder that they need for whatever the application is.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. So this is a really nice picture of the Epiphan Pearl Nano. Greg, how does this relate in size and comparison to the Pearl Mini or even the Pearl 2? How does it relate to the other family of products?
Yeah, I've actually got a live script unit with me, which is kind of the same form factor as a Pearl Pearl Mini.
Okay.
And I've got my Pearl Nano. So you can see that, it is a little bit smaller, which is great. It's a little bit more portable.
Sure.
We tried to set it up so that you could actually get two of them in a single rack unit. So, space-wise, you'd be able to have two side by side. We still have to do some thermal testing to make sure everything's gonna operate. But in terms of size, that's kind of what you're looking at.
Okay.
So it's very compact, very portable, which is great.
That's awesome. And I like how the design itself, when you held those two side by side, they're definitely related.
It's a Pearl product for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. So here we're showing the connections on the Nano itself. Greg, if you could walk us through exactly what's included on the hardware box.
Sure. So on the left-hand side, we've got DC power. We've also got PoE Plus on the Ethernet port,
Okay.
so you can power through either. It's got a USB 3.0 input. For the initial launch, we're going to use that for keyboard and mouse inputs and hard drive output if you wanted to connect an external hard drive. We aren't going to have USB camera support in the initial version. It will come later, but it won't be in the first version.
Okay.
Then we've got your HDMI output and your HDMI pass-through, as well as your 12G SDI in and HDMI 2.0 in. Again, for the initial release, you can put a 4K signal in and downscale it to 1080 or whatever you need it to be for the resolution. We won't support 4K out in the initial release, but it is going to be coming as part of a license in the future.
Okay.
And then for audio, you've got RCA and line level XLR inputs.
That's great. So just looking at some of these different I/O connections, you're offering a lot of flexibility for a lot of different installs that our dealers might run into, with both HDMI and SDI input, and of course the balanced XLR audio, allowing them to integrate into a sound system that may be in use at a church or a local school or government agency. It really is it includes those professional features that our dealers are being asked for day in and day out.
Perfect.
So what makes the Pro Nano great? I just covered your first bullet, the XLR audio input connections, those professional connections. What else have we got to talk about here?
Yeah, so I mentioned the front screen already, but that's huge, right?
Absolutely.
Being able to see what's going on, being able to get that error information if something's not working, directly without having to look at flashing buttons. That's huge. We've also tried to future-proof it as much as we can. So if you look at some of the systems that are out there, they work great. But if you're trying to do SRT or Dash, that's not in there today. And then, having 4K, we are planning on doing H.265 in the future as well as part of that license, so that people can, get access to, however they want to stream the content out. I lost the slide.
No, that's fine. We're
there we go.
Right here. Yep.
PoE Plus and the SD card. That's not a huge thing about Nano specifically.
Sure.
But the thing that we've done is we've actually recessed it a little bit compared to a Pearl Mini. So, we've got feedback from customers that, I'm brushing past the Pearl Mini and the card pops out because it's not recessed enough.
Okay.
So at Epiphan, we listen to our customers. We want to make sure that, if there are challenges they're having, we're taking that into account and doing what we can to continually improve our products.
That's great. And Greg, I gotta tell you, I'm really excited to see the SRT included in this product. I mean, SRT is a feature that was just released in the latest firmware for the Pearl products. And it's already not being forgotten and is going to be included in the new Pearl Nano as well. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, and that's been huge to the people we've been talking to. They're really excited about having that.
Absolutely. And here we kind of have a bullet by bullet comparison, comparing with the Pearl Nano to the Pearl Mini. A lot of this we talked about already, but obviously the most important feature is that the Pearl Mini would have the switching capability, which is what a person with a multi-camera layout would obviously want to upgrade and step up to.
Yep, 100%. And that's kind of what we looked at is, if you've got multiple inputs that are coming in, I've got, 2 or 3 different cameras or different sources and want to be able to switch between different views, just like we're doing for the show. A Pearl Mini is what you would want for something like that. The Nano doesn't have that switching capability,
Sure.
But if you're looking for something, for a smaller type of application, it's a perfect fit for those types of purposes.
No, absolutely. And to be honest with you, our dealers are running into installs where they're talking to customers looking at a Pearl Mini, and all they need is a simple encoder just to be able to get started in producing their live video. So the Nano does slide in perfectly into that need.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about some of the different market verticals and opportunities where that Pearl Nano would fit in. I know I mentioned a little bit earlier how this could be used in a house of worship environment, where it's an easy to use interface, simple encoder, and then you also have that HDMI pass-through where I can feed to an iMac or something else within the church itself.
Yep,
What are some of
100%.
the other verticals that you see this really being a great opportunity for our dealers?
Yeah, and it's not happening, currently. There's not a lot of live conferences going on, but when those do start picking up again, Nano's perfect for that because you can, you have that pass through. Someone's presenting a slides or whatever, and they want those displayed, but then be able to do that picture in picture and stream that out to a remote audience. It's perfect for those types of applications. Legislatures, again, you need to get your stuff out, especially because they can't sit right now. And it's a simple and easy way to just get some cameras in and send that feed out. Corporate applications, education. Education, we are going to have Panopto and Kaltura support at release.
Oh, wow,
and that's been, a big one that everyone has been asking as soon as, we start talking about education and Pearl Nano. Panopto and Kaltura has been one of those questions that has always come up. So we want to make sure that we're able to support that as well.
Absolutely, and I really think that the adoption for the educational market, where there is such a huge need to be able to do your remote learning environments, to get a product like the Pearl Nano in there, will make that production quality so much better and easier. And now you add to that the integration with Panopto or Kaltura. That's music to our dealers' ears because they're going to see how this can quickly be implemented across an entire campus.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think that's really one of the big opportunities I want to stress, that our dealers, we're not asking them to go knock on doors with a low-end product. We'll get into pricing a little bit in a minute, but the Pearl Nano is expected to come in right about that $1,500 price range. The opportunity for our dealers is to now get that installed across a campus, across a corporation, and to also get them into the Pearl family, which will ultimately lead to the Pearl Minis in the multi-camera environments and even a Pearl 2 in the gymnasium or the auditoriums of these big campuses.
Yeah, and in a lot of classrooms, it's just going to be, a teacher or an instructor up there with some slides. They're not going to need to do switching or anything like that. So the Nano just fits perfectly into those types of applications into a classroom.
Absolutely. And then you take that same teacher who sees how easy it is to operate the Epiphan product, and now they're tasked with putting on the school production in the auditorium. It's just a great way of how those sales can snowball into much bigger opportunities.
Yeah.
And Greg, we've done exactly that here. You've given me a nice little use case scenario. Can you walk our dealers through this?
Yeah, this is kind of what I would expect as a basic typical type of system setup. You've got a computer feed doing PowerPoint presentations. You've got audio coming in either through XLR, most likely.
Yep.
And then you've got a camera feed of the person that's presenting. You've got the HDMI pass-through of whatever those slides are for the in-room experience. And then you're streaming it out to your audience, and you're recording it for some post-production purposes, so you can put it on demand after the event is over.
Absolutely, and I think the other thing that I just thought about too with that HDMI pass-through is even in the educational market where the teachers are being tasked in doing a certain number of students in the classroom versus other students that are remotely, once you start getting into those hybrid applications, that's where that really becomes an important feature.
For sure, yeah, 100%.
And then we have another use case here, using it as an output from a switcher into the Nano.
Yeah, so for something like this, I've got a switcher, I've got a bunch of inputs coming in, and I'm using that to switch my feed. But that switcher may not have a way to actually stream the content out. I used to work for a company, made amazing switchers, but every time I would go into a customer site to set it up, they said, well, I need to go and buy this other box because you guys can't stream to YouTube. And something like the Nano fits great into that because I can take an output from the switcher, bring it into the Nano, and then stream it out to my CMS. And then if I don't have recording capabilities on the switcher, I can record that directly onto the Nano and have it available for post-production. Or maybe I want to double up just to make sure that I'm not going to lose the content. I can record it in multiple different places so that I'm sure that I'm going to have the content available for after the event.
Absolutely, and I think this is a challenge that our dealers run into a lot in the house of worship market, where there will be these very large production switches that are handling both video and audio in place. And all they need to do is to take what they have and add the streaming capability to it. In order to replace their equipment, they have to move mountains. But in order to add a device and continue to use what they've known and loved, that's what makes the Pearl Nano a great argument for that customer.
Yeah, and that front screen, again, is huge into these things because I'm streaming the content out, and if something's happening wrong with my stream and I don't realize it, well, I've lost that entire opportunity.
Sure.
And you've got that front screen, so I know that my stream is going out. I know I'm getting the content in, and I don't have any issues going on.
Absolutely. And then here we also have it shown as a contribution encoder.
And this is where that SRT stream comes into play.
Okay.
So, we added that into Pearl Mini and Pearl 2, and we have people that are taking a Pearl Mini and, camera and a microphone and sending it out to some remote contributors, which is fine, and that works great. And we're happy that they're doing that. But the Mini is a little bit bigger. It has more inputs into it. So if you're sending this out to someone who isn't as technical, well, they're going to get a little bit more confused. Whereas the Nano, it's smaller, it's a little bit cheaper to ship because it's a smaller device, and you can send that out to people, and it's just a little bit easier to use because it is doesn't have as many inputs in it. And then you can get those SRT streams fed back into a Pearl 2 or a Pearl Mini and create that whole ecosystem of getting from endpoint A to endpoint B.
And again, further expanding that opportunity size. If we're talking even in a corporate environment where the company I'm working with wants to send one of these Pearl Nanos to each of their presenters for an investor relations meeting, and now they all feed back into my Pearl 2 system using that SRT technology, I can still control the show from wherever I am.
Yep. And all the events that we're doing, all our webinars and our live shows and things like that, that's exactly how we're doing it. We ship Pearl Minis out to all of our employees that go on to those shows. They set them up at home. We feed them all into a Pearl 2 that's in the studio in our office. And then actually someone remotely connects into that and runs the entire show remotely. So there's no one actually in the studio itself other than just the Pearl 2.
Which brings me back to social distancing requires live streaming, right?
Exactly.
This is the nature of the world we're living in today. So to have that technology and the products able to address that technology is really why Broadfield has been so successful with Epiphan products, and just as a whole for the entire category. So we are working towards meeting some shipping deadlines and hoping to get this product out onto the market by the end of the year.
Yep.
And we have some demo units hoping to be produced even before then.
Yeah, so we're working towards getting 50 units available in the end of October-ish, early November timeframe. Something that I learned myself when we launched LiveScript was I had 4 demo units available. And as soon as we announced it, we got a lot of requests and people saying, I want a demo unit, I want to be able to show it. And quickly realized I didn't have enough units.
Right.
We wanted to try to counter that with Pearl Nano. We know that everyone is going to love this product and be so excited to get it. And so we're building 50 units. We're going to have to use some of those for internal development, but we should still have a lot of units available. So once we have those and get everything kind of set up, we'll start shipping those out to our partners and can show off the product to your end customers. Trying to get things lined up so that when we have the product generally available by the end of the year, they've already placed their order and we can ship it out to them immediately.
Absolutely, and I know there's a public launch date scheduled for the near future. You guys are actually going to be hosting a webinar next Tuesday, is that correct?
Yeah, so Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time,
Okay.
we'll be doing an actual announcement of the product. Sessions like this with you, we're giving our partners an opportunity to kind of see the product in advance. We put up a post on our Facebook page saying, hey, the launch event is on Tuesday, and our sales team has already been flooded with, I want more information,
Sure.
all this stuff. So we want to make sure that you guys have some of the information. So as soon as we do announce it and you start getting those calls, you have that information as well. So that's kind of why we wanted to do some of these types of sessions. But yeah, we've already been getting a lot of traction, which is amazing to see.
Absolutely, and I think that's one of the things I want to reinforce with our dealers as well, is this product is going to be publicly announced on Tuesday. Broadfield will work closely with Epiphan to get a portion of some of these demo units as soon as they come available. We will make sure that we arm you with everything you need to go after these opportunities. If you have an opportunity that is mission critical and needs to be closed immediately, realize that the Pearl Mini and Pearl 2 are products that are available and are shipping today. You can take the Pearl Mini to close your immediate opportunity, but then show off the Pearl Nano to make the argument of how they can roll this out to even more users across the corporation, across the campus, or throughout a house of worship that might have different rooms that they need to stream from. So all of that can be done as soon as these demo units are available, and we work really closely with you guys. I know we'll be able to manage that and get those units into the right hands.
Yeah, for sure.
So now the Pearl Nano, the target is to hit just under that $1,500 price point?
Yeah, so we're looking at $1,495 as the price point for the Pearl Nano. And then we are looking at down the road having a single license for a number of different features. So I mentioned 4K support, HEVC. I've got some other ones that we're trying to figure out whether they fit into the license or if it would just be a firmware upgrade like we do with our Pearls today. And still have to kind of figure out the pricing on that. But it is something where, as we've done with our Pearl products in the past, you get the box and we're going to continue working on it and improving it, adding new features to the product. It's not something where you get it and once we finish developing it, we just kind of forget about it and move on to the next thing. We continually work on our products and continually make them better all the time.
So we've talked a lot about how the Pearl Nano fits into the Epiphan family. How does it fit into the marketplace with some of the other encoders that are out there?
Yeah, so it is a busy market for the encoders. So you've got solutions from AJA, Magewell, Matrox, Osprey, Videon. There's I made a list of about 26 different options. It took me about a week to come up with a spreadsheet on that. So there are a lot of solutions that are out there, but what you need to do is look at what the application is and whether or not things like that front screen, the audio inputs, the pass-through, all those things are really going to make or break the opportunity.
Sure.
So, we've kind of looked at it and said, what can we do differently than what some of these other guys do? You could always, use OBS, right? You can get some capture cards, you can throw it into a computer, deal with the headaches of getting all that set up. Something like the Nano is just designed to be really easy and simple to use, just like all of our Pearl products are. You also do have devices that are integrating streaming or SRT directly into themselves. So you've got cameras that can do that nowadays.
Yep.
The challenge with that is, how do you get your audio into those as well? So if
Sure.
it's a bigger room, the camera's in the back of the room and it's using the microphone and the camera, it's not going to pick up the audio. Whereas we've got those professional audio inputs on the Pearl Nano, so you can get good quality audio all the time. And then, there are products out there like switchers that do have streaming capabilities on them. The Blackmagic ATEM, everyone always talks about that. The price point is really hard to beat, but there are limitations with how you can actually create those different layouts that you want to do. You're limited to about a half a dozen different picture-in-picture options, whereas with Pearl Nano, you have that full layout editor. You can create it however you want it to be, put the pictures wherever you want, bring your feeds in, have your background, and just have complete control of how you want your broadcast or your output to look.
Absolutely, and I think it's impressive to say that you can identify a spreadsheet of 26 different products in the industry and still say, we're going to design this. There is a need for this in the industry. And if you look at some of those features that we spotlighted for our dealers today, I think those features do come across and the necessity is there. I also think it creates, once again, the larger opportunity of getting the Epiphan Pearl in front of the customers and having that turn into a multi-unit installation where all of these different boxes are working together, and quite honestly, they're working the same way.
Yeah, and just kind of talking about that really quickly, we're going to have Epiphan Cloud coming out in about a month's time, and I believe that you have something set up to where you're going to go into more detail about that.
Absolutely.
But that's a way that you set up a whole system of Epiphan products and can manage and control it all from one central interface, just to make your life so much easier.
And in addition to that, you also have to, we have to remind the integrations that you've developed with Panopto, with Kaltura, with these CMS platforms that are out there now. It's not just a hardware device. The hardware is acting as the interface to all of these integrated systems that are being used in verticals throughout the country.
Yeah, exactly.
So again, I want to remind our dealers that they can share the public announcement with all of their customers next Tuesday, September 29th. Go to epiphan.com, Epiphan Video's website. They can register for the public release of the show. If you need any information to get your customers excited about the product, to get them interested in learning more about this new opportunity and to help start to cultivate these sales now, reach out to me directly, jim@broadfield.com. I can work closely with Greg, with Matt, and with everyone over at Epiphan, and we'll get you all the information you need to help get these started. Again, the Epiphan Pearl Nano is coming soon, hoping to ship before the end of the year with an under $1,500 MSRP. Great, thank you so much for joining us today.
Perfect, thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. Cheers. Before we let our dealers go, I do want to tell you we have some great shows planned for you in the upcoming weeks. Next week is October 1st. We're going to start the month, start the quarter, the same way we do every month, talking about specials and new products. We're also going to be bringing on Ruben from Angelbird, talking about the Angelbird storage solutions for creative professionals. All Angelbird products are available now at Broadfield. We have the Atom X products and the CF Express products in stock now, so call your Broadfield sales rep. And then we're also going to be talking about live production sales opportunities for the world of marketing and advertising creatives. If you have customers who are looking to build a brand, they should be building that brand with live video. This is a great market to go after with products like the Pearl Nano that we talked about today, and all the products available right here at Broadfield. Give us a call at 800-634-5178. And until next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern, cheers.
Broadfield Distributing is a value-added distributor of live production, streaming, video editing, and storage products. We only sell to resellers. We are always looking for new dealers. So call us at 1-800-634-5178 or email sales@broadfield.com. You'll like doing business with Broadfield because we make it easy to do business.